Welcome to the Money Hour with Tina Mitchell. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, March 18th show. I am your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. My goal is to keep you up to date on the latest news and trends in our local economy. Keep me tuned in and I'll keep you informed. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. I'm here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that I have in studio. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. My lineup for the show today: Patrick Hayes with Superior Slabjacking. Is your concrete shifting, shrinking, or unsafe? I have a solution that can save you 60% or more overall removal and replacement costs. Also in studio, Laurie Lamoureux with Seamless Moves, helping families clear out a home after senior move or death. And last guest in studio, Cindy Peschel with Coldwell Baker Bain, getting your offer accepted in today's real estate market. Great information and great guest in studio. For more information on any topics discussed, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And for today's Money Chat.
Money.
What a week it was for mortgage interest rates. Biggest intraday drop of the year for mortgage rates happened this week. Mortgage rates fell at their fastest pace of the year following Wednesday's rate hike announcement from the Fed. Yellen's message was, "My work here is mostly done." Yellen, at her first news conference of 2017, said, in short, the Fed believes that after nearly 8 years of trying to nurse the economy back to health, it worked and is nearly done. The simple message is the economy is doing well, Yellen was quoted to say. She suggested no urgency towards the tightening of money supply that might suggest a hair-trigger readiness of accelerate interest rates increasing. Yellen is feeling little fear that the Fed is behind the curve, suggesting that 2 more interest rate increases are on the way over the remainder of 2017. 2 things have changed. First, that day now feels intimate with the unemployment rate at 4.7% and inflation closing on a 2%. A Fed thinks best. That is the key reason for the Fed raised in interest rates in the target on Wednesday. Second, markets now believe that the Fed's message that higher rates are on the way. Bond market suggests that the Fed will actually follow through with its intentions on a gradual interest rate rises. You couldn't say that a year ago. Now, this will, if these plans stay in force, remain the slowest cycle in interest rate increase in modern history. If you're wondering why mortgage rates fell while the Fed's rates moved up, the explanation is simple. Financial markets had already full account of the change that the Fed would hike interest rates today, but being on Wednesday. They'd even gone a step further and began to account for the faster pace in the future rate hikes. And it was that future outlook that allowed for our pleasant surprise. As it turned out, the median forecast among Fed's members didn't see that the Fed fund rate ending in the year was higher than the previous batch of forecasts, both in 2017 and 2018. While there was no way to know exactly how much the markets were prepared for the forecast to move higher, it is certainly more than not at all. In other words, rates have recalled in fear over the past few weeks, expecting to see a very scary day. Now, when the monster turned out to be a little bit cuter, rates calmed down quickly. The average lender offered midday improvements that brought rates about 1/8% lower. Some situations, some mortgage lenders saw actually 2 decreases in rates, moving at 1/4%. Now, in terms of a conventional 30-year fix, most lenders are back down to about 4.25%, which is at your standard cost structure for that. Now, a little update on the Seattle real estate market. Medium sales price in Seattle, $540,000. Price per square foot in Seattle, $418, an increase of 13% over last year. A medium rent per month. In Seattle, $2,600. So a little bit about what happened with mortgage interest rates, and that was my money chat for you today. Coming up next in the Money Hour, increasing your home values and curb appeal with an alternative to concrete replacement. Save time, money, and a better to our environment. Patrick Hayes with Superior Slabjacking right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Are you confused about how to hire the right agent? The reality is the agent you hire will have a significant impact on the results that you get in your next real estate transaction. The problem is that most buyers and sellers don't know what questions to ask their agent before they hire them, and sometimes they don't know that they may have made an error until it's too late. The Nicole Magina Group with Windermere Real Estate has proven systems and strategies that allow their clients to consistently achieve their goals in today's market. At the Nicole Magina Group, they've helped hundreds of clients get amazing results in the local real estate market.
Has your bank or lending professional turned you down? Have you felt that your lender just doesn't understand you or your project? Do you wish there was a lender that wouldn't beat you up for your credit history and actually look at the project, collateral, and exit strategy instead? Scott Estes and Veristone Capital are helping real estate agents, loan originators, financial planners, buyers, and real estate investors find lending solutions in today's turbulent and ever-changing market. We take pride in saying yes when others say no and seeing your project come to life. We offer a personalized performa that will lay your project out and offer full transparency with zero commitment or costs on your part. Scott Estes and Veristone Capital are bringing Make Sense loans back to lending and put more weight into collateral and exit strategy and credit risk of the borrower.
This is Scott Estes with Veristone Capital in Kirkland, Washington. To learn more about our lending programs and unique solutions, or to get your personalized performa of your next project, you can contact me at 425-891-8260. Again, that's 425-891-8260, or email me directly at scott@estesteam.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 18th show. I'm here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding money. Talk with your host, that would be myself, or the guest that I have in studio today. In studio right now, Patrick Hayes with Superior Slabjacking. Patrick, thank you so much for coming back in studio.
Thank you for having me, Tina. And hey, I just have to ask you, do your listeners know about your book?
You are so sweet. I don't know that they do. I should talk about it a little bit more.
Well, you should talk about it. Journey with Me is a fabulous book, and I enjoyed it very much. I've given it to a couple of people, and they've enjoyed it also. So you should tell your listeners about it.
Thank you, Patrick. We'll have to add that in as the closing of the show. I appreciate that shout out very much. And back on Patrick, a little bit about Patrick. Patrick is VP of Superior Slabjacking. He's a state director and serves on the executive committee of Building Industry Association of Washington for 9 years. He's currently the membership manager of Master Builder Association of King and Snohomish County. Patrick has served on the board of directors of Master Builder Association as well as Skagit Island County Builders Association. And we don't have Shannon in here in studio with us today, so you'll have to say hello to her for me.
I will.
And so talking about Master Builder Association, and we're going to talk about slabjacking because that's your company. And I know our engineer here is not on mic, but he's has used you as well in your company. So it's exciting to see all the networking that happens here in our studio with all of our experts. So Patrick, is it true that you can only slabjack when weather is good? Because I've heard that you can't do slabjacking when it's raining or when it's cold out. And we're getting a little bit of rain. And last night it was pretty nippy out there. weather?
You know, I love it when people ask me that question because if we could only slabjack when the weather is good, we'd have to add a couple of zeros at the end of the bid in order to be able to stay, alive. So no, we can slabjack just about year round. The only time that we don't is when it's frozen out.
Okay.
And that's because we use water as part of our mix with the concrete. We also want to make sure that it's safe for our drivers. So no, we slabjack year round.
Yeah, and now we're not seeing much of the snow as we used to, so you're probably working.
Not until next week.
Yeah, I did hear that. So Patrick, if I were to hire you to slabjack and you aren't able to do the job, will you still expect me to pay? Not because I'm the host of the radio show, but let's just say I'm just one of our listeners out there. And if so, how do you determine what the charge should be?
Well, first of all, most of the time, we are able to tell before we actually go out on the job whether or not we're going to be able to lift the slab.
Okay.
There are some occasions where we go out and we're not able to lift the slab. If that's the case, we haven't delivered what we said that we were going to deliver, so we do not charge anything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Now, we do have competitors that are going to want to charge for their time and for their service, but
yes.
We don't think that we've upheld our end of the deal, so no, we won't charge a penny.
And I also want you to share something else because you have a guarantee in additional if the settling won't occur. So what's that?
Yeah, we know that sometimes after we slabjack, there will be additional settling. But we feel strongly that if you hire us to do the work, we are going to guarantee our work against settling against everything except for earthquakes for as long as you own the property.
Yeah, pretty
amazing. So we've had some people who have called us 12 years later that have had a quarter of an inch of settling, and yes, we're going to go take care of that.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I always like to talk about uniqueness in a company is what is your unique proposition that you have to offer, and I think that is pretty unique compared to what your competitors are doing out there. So Patrick, do you have before and after pictures available by city and by the type of job that you do that you can share with potential clients?
Absolutely. If you go to our website, which is www.superiorslabjacking.com, you will be able to search for front porches, walkways, patios, basement floors, garage floors. You can do it by location. We do have testimonials and referrals on our website as well. And if you feel compelled to get additional referrals, we're happy to contact previous customers and ask them if they're willing to give additional referrals and make those available as well. Got it.
And given, I should maybe open up the show because you've been in studio quite a few times, and so we've had this conversation, but sometimes I forget that we have listeners that are coming in that have not listened to the show and surely maybe have not heard yours. Will you give a little bit of talk about slabjacking? What exactly is that?
Sure. Well, slabjacking, typically people will notice sunken walkways. Sometimes they'll notice front porches. Rarely are they going to notice like a sunken garage floor unless they have problems with critters. And oftentimes when they have that, they're going to have their garage doors redone rather than think that maybe their concrete has settled. So concrete settling is fairly common around here. When I say fairly common, on a percentage basis, probably 5%.
Okay.
So I guess it's not real common, but that's still a lot of houses.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times where people will say, I have a trip hazard on my walkway, and I'll go to the house and say, well, did you also notice that your front porch is settled a half an inch or 3/4 of an inch? And they say, well, how can you tell? And I'll be able to point things out similarly to what Scott was talking about is, if you're in the business, you see those things.
Yes.
And they say, well, how would we know? So unless you're trained to see these things, you're probably not going to know.
And that's why it's good that you've come out. You can go out and do a consultation, no cost, and find out if you can actually help the situation.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because a lot of times we go out and people will say, well, can we pay you something for the advice that you're giving? I said, well, no, this is what we do. That's just part of our service.
Yeah. So, Patrick, you not only are the owner of Superior Slabjacking, you also work for the Master Builders Association, as I mentioned, in your buyer of King and Snohomish counties. You serve on the board of directors for Building Industry Associations of Washington. What were the circumstances that led you to work for MBA, and how does it work, and how are you able to do both jobs effectively and serve on the BIAW Board of Directors? I mean, you've got a lot going on.
That's a lot of questions.
I know it is. I just thought I'd put it all out there for you.
Well, when we first started Superior Slabjacking, we had a non-compete and couldn't work in King, Snohomish, or Pierce counties. So we started working in Skagit Island and Whatcom counties. And one of the things that I felt was really important to help us establish credibility for a newer business was to be a part of the Building Industry Association.
Oh.
And it also turned out that that was a great source of referrals. And not just referrals to my business, but meeting qualified contractors that we could refer to other people.
Building those power partners.
Building those
kind
power
of the same
partners.
thing of why I do this radio show. It's bringing the best of the best in and having that community of referral opportunities.
Exactly. So then as we went through 2008, 2009, 2010, probably at least 30% of my friends in the building industry went out of business. And several of those who remained in business are still reestablishing their retirement funds because they lived off of those for several years. And I looked at that, and I looked at what membership in a building industry association can do because of the partnership and the relationship component. But also with the Building Industry Association, there's a code of ethics that everybody signs. And if there are problems with quality of work, we are able to address those questions. So it was as a result of that that I started recruiting other people in the trades to be a part of the association.
Okay.
And in 2011 and 2013, I was the top recruiter in the state for new members into the association. And it was at about that time that the master builder said, you know, why don't we start paying you for the work that you're volunteering to do? Well, that, sounded really good to me.
Sure. Why not?
There is a bit of a problem, though, in that there really are only 24 hours a day and 7 days a week.
Yeah, but I know, Patrick, you've got a great team with your company that is, I mean, you're not out there bidding the jobs majority of the time or going in. I mean, you've got your team.
Yes, we do.
Yes. And of course, you've got Shannon as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But remember, Shannon was sick for a while.
Yes.
She had cancer. And at that point, I was hitting it pretty hard. But things are much better now.
Yeah. So, Patrick, I understand that you are an excellent resource for providing quality referrals for other construction-related jobs. So talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. With the Master Builders Association, well, first of all, we're the largest home builders association in the country. We have over 2,800 company members. I
didn't realize that 28 company members. That's what I meant to say, 2,800.
Yeah. The next largest home builders association has about 1,600 company members. So the consumers now are relying on master builders as a resource. And part of that is because of our involvement in the Seattle Home Show and now in the Everett Home Show. But we get, on average, about 35 calls a week from people all over King and Snohomish counties looking for a qualified plumber or electrician or a roofer or a remodeler. And we feel very, very good about the leads that we are giving the people who call it.
So, Patrick, what is it about Master Builder Association that makes you think that you should hire MBA members versus others that are not part of Master Builder Association?
Well, one of the things that you know when you're hiring a Master Builders member is you know that company is licensed, bonded, and insured. And you also know that they have signed the Code of Ethics and abide by the Code of Ethics. Typically, if we're talking about a Master Builders member, a lot of the other people who are in the Master Builders Association know their work by reputation.
Yes.
And so we are able to refer the top of the line based on reputation. And the thing about it is if we give a referral and it turns out that there's a problem, first of all, we help to take care of that problem. But secondly, we make sure that that company does not get additional referrals unless they resolve the issue on their own.
Yeah, so there's an extra high level of accountability there to make sure that your members are providing a high level of service. Yeah,
absolutely.
So Patrick, I'm gonna need to wrap up my time here with you in just a couple minutes, but shout out that you have for my listeners as far as Master Builder Association. So I have a lot of realtors that listen to the show, a lot of business professionals. If they want more information on Master Builder Association, what would be the next step?
They can either go to our website, which is www.mbaks.com. So for Master Builders Association, KingstonHomage.com. Okay. Or they can call me directly, 425-460-8222.
Wonderful. Patrick, thank you so much for coming back in studio, and enjoy our time together, and look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you for having me, Tina.
Of course. Coming up next on the Money Hour, do you need help clearing out or moving a senior parent or grandparent? Laurie Lamoureux with Seamless Moves right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Are you looking to purchase a home in today's real estate market and want to get the best representation available? Give Cindy Peschel Hall a call today and set up an appointment to meet with the Peschel Hall & Hall Real Estate Partners. Cindy and Richard work together, bringing over 30 years of combined experience representing buyers and sellers. Call Cindy today at 206-930-3526.
Hi, this is Cindy Peschel Hall with Coldwell Banker Bain. You can reach me at 206-930-3526. Our website, peschelhall.com. Give me a call. I'd love to help you out.
Are you struggling to find time to clear out the home of a loved one who has moved to nursing care or has passed away? Do you need to speed it up so the estate can sell or rent the home, its biggest asset, but you're not sure where to start? Seamless Moves help families just like yours quickly sort through belongings in your loved one's home, ship them to family members and other heirs, and disperse the remaining unwanted items as you direct. Seamless Moves has over 13 years experience overseeing moving details for busy professionals, families, and seniors. They have the highest satisfaction ratings on Yelp, Facebook, and Angie's List.
This is Laurie Lamoureux, Chief Box Opener at Seamless Moves. To learn more about how we can help you with a move or an estate cleanout, call us at 425-746-1334 or check out our website at seamlessmoves.com. Again, that's 425-746-1334 and online at seamlessmoves.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 18th show. It's a great day to talk about money. That's why I'm here with you and what the show is all about: how to make money, save money, and build a better quality of life for you and your family. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online at themoneyhour.com if there's any questions or if you'd like to chat with the guests that I have in studio. And right now in studio, Laurie Lamoureux with Seamless Moves. Laurie, thank you so much for coming back in studio. Great to have you.
Thank you, Tina.
And a little bit about Laurie. Laurie is founder and chief box opener of Seamless Moves, a residential move management company headquartered in Bellevue, Washington, and has been in business for over 13 years. Laurie is a self-proclaimed organized geek who learned about moving and unpacking and organizing while relocating her family several times with the U.S. Navy. Her mother jokes that when she was a child, she could never punish Laurie by sending her to her room because she would happily rearrange the furniture, reorganize the bookshelves, and clean out the closet. The background, combined with several years of military transfers as a Navy spouse, gave her the idea of starting a move management company to help busy people with moving-related tasks. And I just love that, Laurie, because anything that we do and that we excel at well is a passion and something that we're excited about. So I love you sharing that with my listeners. Thank you. And let's go ahead and start out with, are you a standard moving company?
We're not, Tina. We are move managers or moving planners, we call ourselves. Some people describe us just like a wedding planner, only for moving. You know, like your wedding planner doesn't literally take your photos or bake your cake or arrange the flowers. Mm-hmm. We don't do everything that's associated with the move, but we make sure everything happens the way it's supposed to, the way people want it to, and in their time frame and in their budget.
So could you break it down for my listeners, Laurie, on what type of services that you provide?
Yes. Our primary services are downsizing, organizing, and planning what people are going to move, sourcing the packing boxes and the supplies, packing the items that are to be moved, packing the items that are going somewhere else, because that happens sometimes, hiring and overseeing the movers, the guys with the moving trucks and the big burly mover guys, and also unpacking, organizing, and neatly putting the things away in the new home. We also remove the packing boxes when we're finished.
So, Laurie, that is a lot of stuff that you're doing for the consumer. So how much does that service, all of that cost?
Well, we do a complimentary consultation with each client to go over the things that they want us to do, and they can choose which services they would like us to provide and let us know if there's anything that they will do themselves, maybe with the help of their friends or their family. And then they receive a written estimate for the time and the cost, so there are no surprises when it comes time to move.
So that's nice. They can tailor what they want of the services that they want to use to get that cost more effective for them if they want to.
Exactly.
For me, I would just have you do it all. I don't want to have any part of the moving. And so I know that you're running a special right now highlighting in this month for March. Can you share that with my listeners?
Yes. We've had many requests for assistance when people move from their home to assisted living or when they pass away, to help the families and the personal representatives clear the home of the items that are left behind. So now we provide estate services to work with them to sort things, pack and move, ship them to family members, take the things to charity donations, and dispose of any unusable items.
Okay. And Laurie, why would a family or a personal representative contact Seamless Moves for help instead of doing it themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tina, because a lot of people feel like they need to do it themselves. They need to be very hands-on, and they need to go through everything and look at every single thing in the house. But the main reason that we can help is their time. The house is usually the most valuable item in the estate, so it's important to clear it as soon as possible so that it can be sold or used as a rental property. Most people are very busy with their own lives, and they have trouble adding a big project like this to what they already have going on.
And I can imagine. I mean, there's just a lot, especially when you've got a senior involved into all of the planning and things that are going on there as well. So how much time are you saving them? What's it going to take you in going in and helping?
Well, with the input of the family as to what goes where, we can clear a home in 1 to 2 weeks. That is huge for some people who have been trying to get it done for 6 months, 8 months. Yes. Some of our clients have been working on it for a year or more, and it's just not easy to do with the time schedule that families have doing other things. We have a system that we use to help them make it go quicker and hopefully be a little less intrusive to their lives.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, what about a family listening to the show that is actually out of the area? Can you help them as well, Laurie?
Yes, absolutely. We worked with one family who scheduled the 3 siblings and their spouses to all come on one weekend all at the same time and give us the information as to what went where. Their sister participated by Skype, which was
nice.
Good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We marked everything that they wanted to send and where they wanted it to go. And when they returned home, we packed up everything and shipped it to the appropriate siblings. And they were able to go out to lunch after our meeting and relax with each other instead of spending their time trying to figure out where to take every single thing in the house.
Yeah, I'm a big believer on hire out, delegate, and enjoy your life.
Right.
So besides the shipping, what other things did you do for them, Laurie?
Well, we coordinated with an estate sale person to pick up the items that were going to be sold. We recycled the recyclables, threw away the trash, and took the items to charity donation that could be reused. When we left, the house was cleared out so that the house cleaner we scheduled could come and clean it, and the elapsed time was 1 week.
Wow. Now, I know, Laurie, you know that we have got a guest in here, real estate representing, industry leader in the real estate space. And I'm sure she's sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, that could definitely save me a lot of time if that was my seller. So talk a little bit about that, because I have a lot of real estate agents that listen to the show and how you can really benefit them.
Right. And I think that a lot of professional realtors feel like they should be hands-on with their client during this process. But most folks are good business people, and I'm sure they understand that the process works best if we all do our own specialties. We can save the clients a lot of time and stress and make sure that things happen on the timeline that it needs to happen.
Yeah. So, Laurie, how much are your clients involved in the process on a typical move that you're doing? What are you seeing the involvement from your clients?
I see everything from very hands-on to not even there. We've had clients who have sent us videos of what the home looks like so that we can pre-look at it and see what is going to need to be done and give them an estimate through that. It's best if we can go with one of the family members to the home before we start working. But if that's not possible, we can definitely work around that.
And Laurie, areas and places where they can actually save money by hiring your company.
Yes, I think that the most savings they're going to realize is that the home will be able to be on the market sooner. It will be able to, once we clear it with them, they will be able to do any necessary repairs. If they need to get a new carpet or do some paint or something like that, it's a lot easier to do if the home is empty.
Yeah. And what about things that you don't pack?
There isn't very much that we don't pack.
Okay, or move.
Right. There are a few things that can't go on a moving truck, anything flammable, guns, live plants. But most of the things that need to be cleared from a home, we can find new homes for.
Got it. And I know you work directly with the real estate professional a lot. I mean, you're very vested in Women's Council of Realtors, as I am as well. And so what is advice that you have for any of the real estate agents that are listening to the show? How can they contact you?
Well, the easiest way for them to contact us is by our telephone number, which is 425-746-1334. You can also email us. Our email is contact@seamlessmoves.com. We are happy to come out and do a complimentary consultation with the real estate agent, with the stager, with any handyman people that they need to have there. We'll be part of the team and work with everyone to make sure that things are happening on the timeline.
That is so great to hear that really it's about planning, and there's the opportunity to plan and strategize ahead of time to make sure that it works. Everybody knows what needs to be done and the cost associated, and again, be able to tailor that plan to what their needs are, which is just amazing. Now, my listeners love stories, Laurie. So what's a story that you could share that might have looked like it could have been a little bit of a nightmare if they had not had you? Of course, leaving names out, but
yes. One question that we get quite frequently is, do you work with hoarders? Okay. And that term is used for all kinds of different situations in a home, from everything from she bought too much on QVC to there is literally some garbage on the floor. So actually we do work with almost all the situations, but I'll be able to tell as soon as I come and visit the home.
Got it. Okay. And so obviously the success story would be right there, is just really coming in in and being able to navigate through that, because I could only imagine as a family member, and I have my husband's mother is, getting to that next, time in her life, and we're doing a lot of things to really help, and just the emotional, and she's not a hoarder. She is like so organized and doesn't keep anything. So we got it easy there. But my mom, on the other hand, she saves a lot of stuff. So just the thought of having to sort through and everything would be, could be challenging. So it'd be nice to, again, have that expert. Biggest mistake that a consumer or homeowner could make moving on their own?
Oh, that's a really great question.
I got a lot of great questions.
Yeah.
Laurie.
I think the worst mistake I've seen is for people to assume that they can do it all 2 days before the move. Really, my biggest tip would be to start right away. As soon as you know there's a move coming, start right away and start thinking about, it's a lot easier to wrap your head around what you are moving with you than to think about all the extraneous things that you aren't moving with you. And so we always advise people to either make a list or use stickers or whatever, and just go around your house and put little stickers on all the things you're moving with you. And then once you have your mind wrapped around that, it's a lot easier to then tackle the things that aren't going with you.
Yeah, and it's just like everything else in business and life, if you have a strategy for the most efficient way to be able to do it, and that's really going to be, one of the huge benefits of hiring a professional, especially someone that's passionate about moving. I just don't get that, Laurie, but
I know, right?
That's why you do what you do. So any final advice or words that you'd like to share with my listeners before I take us to break?
I would say that don't be embarrassed to have a professional like us come in and help you, because quite a few people, when I come for the consultation, would say, oh, my house is such a mess. And I always tell them, and it's the honest truth, I've seen worse. Yeah. So don't be embarrassed. Hire the professionals. That's what we're there for. We don't judge what you have. We just try to figure out how to make it work for you.
Makes total sense. Laurie, thank you so much for coming back in studio and sharing your wealth of information with my clients on really how to have an efficient and seamless moving process. So thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
And coming up next on the Money Hour, how do you get your offer accepted in today's real estate market? Cindy Peschel Hall with Coldwell Banker Bain right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW after this short break.
Are you struggling to find time to clear out the home of a loved one who has moved to nursing care or has passed away? Do you need to speed it up so the estate can sell or rent the home, its biggest asset, but you're not sure where to start? Seamless Moves help families just like yours quickly sort through belongings in your loved one's home, ship them to family members and other heirs, and disperse the remaining unwanted items as you direct. Seamless Moves has over 13 years experience overseeing moving details for busy professionals, families, and seniors. They have the highest satisfaction ratings on Yelp, Facebook, and Angie's List.
This is Laurie Lamoureux, Chief Box Opener at Seamless Moves. To learn more about how we can help you with a move or an estate cleanout, call us at 425-746-1334 or check out our website at seamlessmoves.com. Again, that's 425-746-1334 and online at seamlessmoves.com.
Are you looking to purchase a home in today's real estate market and want to get the best representation available? Give Cindy Peschel Hall a call today and set up an appointment to meet with the Peschel Hall & Hall Real Estate Partners. Cindy and Richard work together, bringing over 30 years of combined experience representing buyers and sellers. Call Cindy today at 206-930-3526.
Hi, this is Cindy Peschel Hall with Coldwell Banker Bain. You can reach me at 206-930-3526. Our website, peschelhall.com. Give me a call. I'd love to help you out.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, March 18th show. I'm here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855 400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding money. Talk with your host, that would be myself, or the guest that I have in studio today. Right now in studio, I have Cindy Peschel-Hall with Coldwell Banker Bain. And Cindy, thank you so much for coming in. First time having you in studio. Very excited.
Yeah, thank you, Tina. Thanks for having me.
And a little bit about Cindy. Cindy has been a real estate broker for 14 years. She is a corporate executive relocation specialist, accredited luxury home specialist, accredited buyer representative, accredited seller representative, and senior real estate specialist. All these designations require hours of education and commitment to your craft. So Cindy, thank you again so much. And I'm excited about this topic because there is the lack of inventory that we've had forever. Interest rates still being at unbelievable lows, sometime, having to go up. And actually, I want to talk to you about that as we get into the show. So really talking about how do you get your offer accepted in this market? And I, as your host of the show and really bringing in the best of the best in all areas of regarding financing, you've got to work with a seasoned agent that has a great reputation in the market and knows what they're doing to navigate through that process. So Cindy, how do you choose the best agent to represent you? What does that look like?
Well, Tina, I've come up with a list of about 4 or 5 things that I tell buyers to look at when they're looking for an agent. And the first one is experience. And, how long have they been in the business? What is their expertise? How do they negotiate? How do they write their contracts and communicate? And then again, reputation. Those are the first, I guess that's a lot for number one, but that's a very important piece to choosing an agent. And then also, is the agent full-time? Mm-hmm. We have so many people, because the market is what it is, they're getting back into the industry or just starting real estate. And that's not always the best agent to choose in a market like we're in. And then an agent that really knows the market and understands what the climate is and what's going on, so that they can actually guide their buyers to make good decisions. And then referrals and references, and to really to trust the people that have used good agents, get recommendations from them, referrals from them, and then if you find an agent, ask them for some testimonials from previous buyers. Yeah,
great advice, Cindy. And I want to go back really quickly on the reputation and why the importance with the reputation. Can you explain that to my listeners? Because I think it might be hard for a consumer to know how important that is in this market.
Well, basically, what the important piece of the reputation is how their reputation is with other agents in the market. That's the piece that really comes into play in a market where we're seeing multiple offers.
Yes.
And oftentimes, if it's a new agent or an agent that has maybe had some issues with people in the industry, that can actually come back to haunt the buyer and that agent. So keeping your reputation, really at the forefront, integrity, is a really big piece of it. It really comes back to agent.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, if you were a seller and the agent that's representing you, you're looking for another agent that's coming and bringing that buyer, and they're going to have to coordinate this whole process, which is very, very complicated. So if you've got an agent that everyone knows how to do that job and do it well, that's the one you want to accept that offer, because it's going to make sure everything's going to run smoothly. So very important. Cindy, what is your advice on the importance of having a pre-approval letter before you begin looking for a home?
That's a very key piece. And as you know, Tina, but yes, for a couple of reasons. The first of which, the buyer doesn't know what price point they're in until they have a pre-approval. So they have to meet with a really very good lender so that they can get the pre-approval letter in place. And all of our offers that we write for our buyers have to be submitted with a pre-approval letter. The listing agent, seller won't even really entertain an offer unless they know that buyer is equally qualified. And then the other piece is if the lender has started the underwriting process, this is also a very big piece, or if it's been through underwriting, and Tina can speak a little bit more to that, because it tells the seller that this person is actually not just qualified to buy this home, but they've gone through a lot of the processes involved, so that they are in a good position to actually close the sale.
Yeah, and great advice. And you need to make sure that you've got a strong pre-approval and that it has gone through the underwriting process. So that's a question you want to ask. But know as a buyer that your pre-approval is based and subject to the information you provided at loan application. So just because you have a solid pre-approval underwritten, everything has to get verified on every type of loan. There's no way around that. It's disclosed on every pre-approval letter. But those of you, my regular listeners, and that's why I've tagged in my $5,000 guarantee, is so if for some reason something happens, it can help out on that process. So Cindy, when you find a home that you want to write an offer on, what do you need to put together to have that great offer that's going to have that great presence with the seller?
Well, the first thing is the pre-approval letter. That's the very first thing that I would make sure that we have in line. And then the other thing is what I do is make sure that I've contacted that listing agent to find out what's important to that seller.
Yeah.
Is the close date important? Is the price the most important? Is the possession date important? Meaning, do they need a rent back? In this market, a lot of sellers are selling their homes and don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So they often, that comes into play. Can I stay in the home while I find another home once I get my equity out and close my transaction? So finding those things out before helps me write an offer to best put my buyer in the best light for that seller.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is, determining value. In this market, we're seeing anywhere from a 5 to 20% increase over list price. So the list price sometimes does not mean the sale price.
Yeah.
So, letting buyers know that, but also, finding out based on the market conditions, could this house support that price?
Yes.
And so we put together a little mini market analysis for our buyers so that they feel comfortable in a number that they want to escalate up to if they have to.
And that's great, is making sure the buyer understands. And that's a good point that, just because it's listed at this price, to know what you're going to have to go over and then really be confident in that maximum price that you're willing to go with so that you're staying under that.
Correct. Exactly. And then the other piece that is really a big part, because a lot of buyers are waiving their inspections, appraisals, and different things. Let's get a pre-inspection done. Or did the seller do a pre-inspection and we can review that? Sometimes the timelines are really tight and we don't, the house comes on the market and they're reviewing offers in 2 or 3 days and a buyer works full time and they can't get over there. So if the seller has done the pre-inspection, that's very helpful. And then the other thing is when we write a strong offer, we want to keep the timelines really tight.
Yes.
If there is an inspection period, if there's any title review period, keep those very, very tight. And then also a very robust earnest money can really come into play and make the buyer's offer look stronger.
Yeah, and on the earnest money, I've talked to my buyers out there on the earnest money, and because that's going towards it's money that they're going to get back and go towards the purchase of their home.
Correct. Yes, it's going toward their down payment. Yes, it does. So it does come back. And our jobs as real estate professionals is to make sure that we don't miss any timelines so we don't jeopardize that.
Exactly.
So it's very important. That's where experienced agent comes in. Very important piece of it, to watch your timelines.
So Cindy, what do you tell your buyers that come to you and ask, can I negotiate price with the seller?
We're really good negotiators. I work with my husband, Richard Hull, as well.
Yes, you guys are.
Yeah, and we are some of the best. We think we are anyway. But in this market, what our job is to get our offers accepted.
Yes.
So if a home has been on the market 30 plus days, we're all over negotiating. We're really all about that. And in previous markets, we've been very successful at that. But in this market, the negotiating is really with the listing agent and the seller, how we can best show our clients to get that offer accepted. So, negotiating price in this market is really kind of non-existent.
It's not going to happen. And finding that home that's been on the market for 30 days, that's kind of challenging as well, right?
Can be tough, unless it's a diamond in the rough somewhere and we need some updates that, and most people want to buy a home that's move-in ready. So if we find a home that needs, several updates, or maybe it hasn't been maintained as well as some others, they tend to stay on the market longer. And we can have buyers that say, hey, you know what, I'm willing to take this on, and now we can negotiate price. So
Yes.
it's awesome.
Yeah. And for those of you that find those houses that out there need a little bit of work, remember there's rehab loans available. So you've just understanding what your options are and maybe be able to get something if you can't find one, find a house out there. So how important in today's market, well, you talked a little bit about this, a list of my questions about really talking with the seller's agent and getting an idea exactly where they're at. And you made a good point on that with this particular seller may not be able to find another home, or there's these things that may apply to them and it may not. Maybe they need a longer closing date, not a shorter closing date. So what other questions are you asking the agent that's representing the seller to help position your buyer?
You know, those are really the key points. I would say possession date is the number one thing right now.
Okay.
Because close date can be adjusted. We don't like to have too long of close dates just because there's things that can come into play that could be a problem, but we like to know really what that possession date is. We have in fact, I think you're going to work with one of our clients on their purchase. We're listing their home tomorrow, and they're very concerned about what do we do and we're assuming their home is going to sell quickly, and they need a place to go. So, you know, possession date for them and how we look at the offers that come in is going to really come into play for them.
Makes total sense. So, Cindy, you hear a lot in the industry about writing a letter to the seller. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question in today's market. We have had it where our buyers have their offer has been accepted because of the wonderful letter photo that they sent to the seller, and it just really touched heartstrings for the seller, and they got the home. We've also seen in this market particularly where sellers don't want to see the letter. It's really interesting. Several times that I've had buyers write letters, or I've represented sellers, and they said, you know what, don't show us the letter. We don't want to see it. And I think they don't want to get emotionally involved with a buyer.
Yeah.
They want to look at it like a business decision.
Makes sense.
Just look at the terms, the price, all the pieces that make sense to them.
Yeah. So we talked about the home inspection, Cindy, on pre-inspection. How many sellers are you seeing? I mean, is it a large percentage of sellers that are doing the pre-inspection where they're going out and getting an inspection on the home before even listing it?
You know, the percentage-wise, it's probably 30%. It's not a huge percentage. It's not half probably, but there's a good portion of it. There's some agents that feel really strongly when they list homes that they think that's very important.
And there's others that don't. I mean, it's really interesting to see that industry leaders and experts have both sides of that.
Both sides to that coin, absolutely.
Yep.
But in any case, a pre-inspection is very important, and how it differs from a regular inspection, it's usually half the cost.
Okay.
So for buyers that that may end up bidding on several homes before they get a home, it's not like spending $500 per inspection. I'm just
so half the cost meaning is half the inspection. I mean, can you explain that to my?
Good question. No, the difference would be a full inspection would be a full report with photos and a published report for the buyer.
Okay.
What a pre-inspection is it's a verbal report. So it's very important that either the buyer's agent or and particularly the buyer be there and walk around with the inspector. He checks all the main systems, the plumbing, the electrical, the roof, the siding. He goes in the crawl space, the attic. And so he knows all the main systems, so he won't check all the appliances necessarily.
Okay.
But all the main systems, the furnace and all of those things, water heaters, so that going in, buyer beware, really, what the main issues are. And if there are some key issues that you're not willing to take on, or at what price will you take on, you at least know up front. But bottom line is it's buyer beware, buyer do their due diligence. And so we rarely sell a home that there hasn't been some sort of inspection done, just because we feel strong.
I was just going to ask, I mean, if there ever a buyer that said they don't want to go in and do an inspection, how would you advise on that?
Yeah, we feel strongly about it. It should be done. And there's been times where, in fact, just this week, Richard had a buyer and she could not be at the inspection because the timeline was so tight. He was there and then had an extensive conversation with the inspector following the inspection, so she knew what she was going to get should she move forward.
Yeah. So escalation clause and or an addendum. Can you talk to my listeners, because that's another strategy that's used a lot in the market. Can you break that down?
Yeah, that's a really big piece in today's market. It's an escalation addendum, and what that is basically because a home may be priced at $500,000 and because there's several buyers that might be interested in that home. what they'll do is include an escalation addendum, which means that the buyer will escalate up to X, potentially. Let's say they'll escalate up to $550.
Okay.
And then there's, might be 5 other buyers doing the same, and whatever their top number is, one could be 560, 175, 575, whatever. And then there's a piece in it that you would say, I will go to 2,500, 2,800, 4,000, whatever number over the highest competing offer. And that's what it is. It's a little confusing until you see it on paper when you're going to write your offer, but it's a very good way to show your offer in the best light and let the seller and the agent know how high that the buyer is willing to go.
You've got your cap that you're willing to go. And you've got ideally what you want to pay, but you're saying that you're going to pay that much over whatever the price is, and then they have to show you that was an actual offer.
They do. They have to. The listing agent has to show you the competing offer, so they can't just try to get you to bid up to get your number. They've got to provide you the copy of that offer.
So now, Cindy, where that doesn't work, and you hear a little bit more now in best offer, come in with your best offer. So they're just, can you explain what the listing agent or the seller, what they're representing or requesting in that situation?
Yeah, that's a good one. It's highest and best. We'll often get calls back and say, okay, we've got 4 offers. We want to see all 4 buyers come in with their highest and best. Yeah. And they just don't want to play the escalation game.
Yeah, I would say that's a little more stressful for the buyer, because they're,
Yes. Yeah. We had an example yesterday. Actually, this is the one that Richard did the pre-inspection on. And it was a home that was very, very dated and needed a roof and many, many updates inside. And the buyer was willing to go only to a certain number. And when the listing agent called Richard back and said, bring in your highest and best, he was awesome with her because he told her everything it needed, had an estimate of some of those costs, and she only raised her price by $5,000, and she got it.
Really?
She got it. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And $5,000, you're talking maybe $25, $30 a month.
That's right. And
it's craziness.
So had she gone into a panic and got a little more emotionally involved and I have to get this house, she might have offered well over that and got it, but paid more than she needed to. So good counsel from a good agent is really, really important.
Definitely. I'm going to wrap this up here, but one more in review top 10 tips in getting your offer accepted in today's real estate market. Avoid number 11. What's number 11?
Number 11 is if you don't get your first offer accepted, talk to your agent and find out what you can do differently next time.
Yeah, you got to learn. Sometimes you learn through those trials and to be so successful. So, Cindy, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it and look forward to having you back again soon.
Thank you, Tina. It's fun. Yeah.
And this is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Of course, I'll be here, same time, same place, right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC.